Hi, welcome to our presentation today for our Vet in Schools program for the Certificate 3 in Early Childhood Education and Care partial completion. My name's Janine and I'm the program coordinator for our Vet in Schools program and our early childhood programs and education support programs here at Box Hill Institute. Today's session is going to provide you with an overview of our VETDSS program for our Certificate 3 in the partial completion of the Early Childhood Education and Care program. So I'm going to take you through the course outline, the requirements, and those sorts of things so you can make an informed decision of whether this program is going to be suitable to your needs. So firstly, why study early childhood? Students that are undertaking the partial completion in our early childhood program are students that are looking to assist in providing children with a solid foundation for lifelong learning. We're looking to educate students about how to assist in children's interests, growth and development. And we're also looking for students that want to share their passion in engaging with young children. As part of the program, students will learn about the importance of working as part of a team. And one thing to really point out as part of this program is that working in early childhood is more than just playing with kids. It is about becoming an early childhood educator and preparing children for lifelong learning. Some of our industry and pathway opportunities include, on completion of the partial completion in Certificate 3 in Early Childhood Education and Care, students can then continue after the two-year program into enrolling into our full qualification of Cert 3 in Early Childhood Education and Care. The Certificate 3 in Early Childhood Education and Care is the entry requirement to be an early childhood educator working in early childhood programs. And students that complete our partial completion program will have credit transfers from units completed into the mainstream qualification, meaning any units that they've undertaken as part of the VETDSS program get transferred across into the mainstream program, and students will only be required then to complete units that are outstanding within the qualification. Once a student has completed the full Certificate 3 in Early Childhood Education and Care, which is also a prerequisite for entry into the diploma qualification, they can proceed and continue on with studies into the diploma to advance their qualification level. After the diploma of Early Childhood Education and Care, students that are interested in becoming an early childhood teacher can then proceed on to undertaking the Bachelor of Early Childhood, which is also offered here at Box Hill Institute. On completion of the full qualification in Early Childhood Education and Care, students can look towards employment opportunities, including being an educator in preschool or kindergarten settings, in long daycare settings, in out-of-hours school care, so OSH programs. Also work as a family daycare provider where you can offer care and education from your home, and also work in recreation and mobile care services. The facilities we have here at Box Hill Institute to support your learning include simulation rooms at both our Elgar at Box Hill campus and Lilydale Lakeside campus. And within these simulation rooms, they contain equipment including child-sized furniture, early childhood equipment, art and craft supplies, language and literacy resources, and maths and science resources. So all of these facilities will enable you to participate in the program, have some opportunities for simulation during class, which then sets you up for success when you're moving out onto the practical placement component. So what is expected of you as a student here undertaking the partial completion VETDSS program? We have a very high standard for our students, and we look at the classroom opportunity as a way to really consolidate and provide those expectations that would be required when you're working in an early childhood service. So in saying that, attendance and punctuality is really, really important. To get the most out of this program, we look towards students attending every class with the exception of if you're unwell and those sorts of things. And punctuality is really, really important as well. When you're working in an early childhood service, ratios and things like that are based on educators being there on time and staying for the full duration of their shifts. So we really reinforce the importance of punctuality in attending classes as well. So we set the standard for you to then go out and work in the early childhood sector. We also have an expectation that students will be completing their assessment tasks by due dates. We fully appreciate that, that students undertaking the VETDSS program are also undertaking secondary school studies, whether it's VCE or VCAL, and there are requirements in those spaces. But to undertake this course, we do have the expectation that you're able to time manage and be able to complete the assessments by the specified due dates. In the event that you have been unwell or there's been unforeseen circumstances, we can look towards providing extensions and those sorts of things. But for the most part, we are expecting students to be able to time manage and be able to submit assessment tasks in a timely manner. We also have an expectation of respectful behaviour and language, both in the classroom and when out on placement. Within the classroom, you're going to be engaging with students from diverse backgrounds that maybe have different values and beliefs and those sorts of things. And that's all part and parcel of working in the early childhood space. So in the classroom, we are always expecting that students are respectful to each other in the classroom, as well as respectful to the teaching team as well. In the classroom too, we are also preparing you to be using appropriate language for when you go out onto placement and work in the early childhood sector. So the use of appropriate early childhood language. So for argument's sake, we'll be encouraging you to use the term children instead of kids, using the terminology of engaging with children as opposed to playing with kids, those sorts of things. So we will be teaching you the professional language that needs to be used in the early childhood sector. But absolutely in the classroom, the language that needs to be used is always respectful and always professional in that way. We also look towards students having a commitment to your studies. So this is a partial completion. So you are undertaking units of competency based on the National Training Package. So, so we want to have students that are entering the program that have a commitment to the study, that are willing to engage in the classes, that are willing to undertake the assessment tasks and work towards completing those units of competency. Students also need to have the ability to time manage. As I alluded to before, it is a very busy 2 years for students with VCE or VCAL requirements, as well as the requirements of this VETDSS program. So students need to be in a position to be able to manage their time effectively in order to meet all the requirements from both their secondary school studies as well as their VETDSS program studies. With the units of competency that are delivered within the VETDSS program, in order to satisfactorily or competently complete the units that are undertaken, it is important for students to complete the theory component of the studies, as well as undertaking the practical placement component of the studies. We need to assess students in the workplace. It's part of the requirements of the units of competency. So students will need to undertake a work placement component. We look at 60 hours of placement in year 1 and then 60 hours of placement in year 2. Now, to secure those work placement opportunities, that is where the student will need to liaise with their secondary schools in order to source a placement that will take on board the student to accommodate those placement hours. With VCAL students who are also needing to undertake work placement for their VCAL completion, if you are working in an early childhood service, you can contribute the hours from your VCAL into your VETDSS program as well. With our VETDSS program, students won't be able to undertake placement until 2 or 3 of the units have been delivered. So we'd be looking at students commencing placement probably around the middle of term 2. So it does provide adequate time for you and your schools to secure a work placement opportunity and then be able to undertake the work placement. Work placement can be completed at maybe 1 or 2 days a week if you're doing VCAL and that fits in with your program. But for VCE students, they find that that's quite difficult. So placement can be undertaken in school holidays, not in the first lot of school holidays, but certainly in the term 2 school holidays. Students, VCE students can look towards completing their placement in the school holiday periods. We can have assessors available to be able to undertake those assessment visits during that school holiday period. But I must reiterate that in order to complete the units of competency, students must demonstrate satisfactory knowledge in the theoretical component as well as in the practical placement component. So the units of competency that we're looking to deliver over this 2-year program. So for year 1, we're looking at delivering the following units. So workplace health and safety. So participate in workplace health and safety. This unit will ensure that students have the skill and knowledge to be able to keep themselves safe in the workplace, which is very, very important. Working in an early childhood, working in the early childhood sector, there's going to be a lot of lifting, there's going to be the use of chemicals for cleaning, there's going to be hygiene practices, all of those sorts of things. So this unit is really important to set the standard for that and teach students the skills and knowledge in order to keep themselves safe in the workplace. We'll also do units on ensuring the health and safety of children. So not only keeping yourself safe from a workplace health and safety perspective, but also being able to have the knowledge and the skills to provide safe and secure environments for children as well. We'll also do a unit on promoting and providing healthy food and drinks, working within a legal and ethical framework. So as part of working in the early childhood sector, there are many, many regulations and frameworks that we need to follow. So it's important that students have an understanding that, you know, it's not just playing with kids. There's a lot of legislative requirements that that also need to be known about and also complied with. And this unit will provide you with that information. And then the final unit in year 1 is organise personal work priorities and development. So this is a unit that will help you when we look at the time management side of things. So be able to prioritise your work and study and personal priorities in order to have a balance within your study work life. So there are year 1 units. So there's 5 units that we study in year 1. Then in year 2, we continue to build on that and we look at units using an approved framework to guide practice. The programs and experiences that we offer children in the early childhood space need to comply and meet with the requirements of the national framework. So that's a unit that will explore information and how we go about doing that. Then we do a unit on provide experiences to support children's play and learning. So a unit that looks at how we set up play experiences or learning activities for children to further enhance their interests and their development. Another unit that we do is use information about children to inform practice. So in this unit, we teach students how to document children's learning, which is another skill that's required by educators. So being able to document children's learning to form the basis of the developmental programs that we offer children. And then the final unit is support children to connect with their world. So that's about being able to teach and guide children in relation to sustainable practices. Another thing to note with this 2-year program is that we are only accepting students in year 11 and 12. So year 11 in 2022. We are not accepting year 10 students. This is a 2-year program. So it's for students to enter at year 11 and complete by the end of year 12. So when we look at integration with your VCE and VCAL studies, it can be used towards an ATAR contribution. So it can be used as your 5th and 6th study, and you can receive 10% of your 4th highest study score. It can also contribute to your VCAL qualification as well, with 90 nominal hours of training required for 1 VCAL unit. And so on this next slide here, I've got a range of different contacts that you can reach out to gather more information about our VETDSS program. And and look towards making your enrolment or your application to undertake our VETDSS program in 2022. Thank you for taking the time today to listen to this presentation. We're very proud of our VETDSS program that we have offered to Year 11 and 12 students. We have had a lot of success stories from our VETDSS program with students that have undertaken the 2-year program and then continued on to Certificate 3 and diploma studies as well and become early childhood educators. So we would love the opportunity for you to come on board here at Box Hill Institute, and we look forward to receiving your applications very soon. Thank you for taking the time again, and any further information you can certainly follow up with the contact details that are appearing on the screen now. Thanks once again. Look forward to seeing you soon.